Welcome everyone. It's Wednesday noon and we are going live today. Today is February 10th, 2021 and welcome to episode 14 of The Switch. I'm Tina Seuss and I am sharing this interview series all about personal true stories. They are about individuals switching to a vegan or raw vegan lifestyle in the hopes of connection and inspiring everyone towards the path of health, compassion, and vitality. And today we are going to hear Sebastian Baum. Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome to this live. I'm so happy you're here. What are you grateful for, Sebastian?
I'm grateful for this awesome place. I'm waking up in the sun here and, surrounded by trees.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I can see a ton of greenery and sunshine around you. Where are you?
I'm in Northern California. It's so green right now. The weeds, I have like all the miner's lettuce I could eat growing out here.
Oh, it's cool. So I'm really happy you came on. So thanks for coming on, Sebastian. I don't know if I've ever actually heard your story, so I'm quite curious. And I think you've been on this path for a really long time. But just for people who don't know you, do you want to just kind of give them a little glimpse of who you are and what your interests or passions are?
Who I am, yes, I'm a 19-year raw vegan, 30-year vegan. Like to stay fit and enjoy nature and learning the truth about things, get to the bottom of things. Because I've always been, I know that like a lot of things have been a lie my whole life or just been, made up.
Yeah. Anthony says, Sebastian the Baum.
That's a good one. Never heard that one.
I like that. So how old are you now? Just so people kind of know.
I think I'm 47.
47? Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So you've been on a vegan path for 30 years. That's a really long time.
Yeah, since I was 17 and a half.
Oh, wow. Now, when you grew up, were you eating everything in your family household, or like what was your life like before you were 17? What was your lifestyle and diet like?
Oh, okay. Well, I was like the weird kid I mean, I experimented with everything. Like, my grandma would be like, "Oh, would you like a glass of milk?" Like any chance she could get. But I would at school, I would in my lunch once my mom would make for dinner like all kinds of vegetables and stuff, and then when I tried vegetables, I'm like, "Wow, raw vegetables! I just want to eat raw vegetables," and that's all. Like in my lunch, all I had was raw vegetables. Everybody else had like Twinkies and stuff.
Yeah.
I would have like peanut butter sandwich and like a salad of like cilantro, carrots, celery, and green bell pepper, and that was like my favorite recipe. I would call it peppermint vegetables. Everybody thought I was so weird. And
Wait, say that mixture again. What was it?
it was celery, carrots, and cilantro,
Okay.
and green bell pepper. Or green bell pepper, that was something I had separate. I didn't think I had it in there, but
Okay.
those are things like I had in my lunch every day.
Yeah. So you were already like naturally attracted to fresh fruits
Because
and
I didn't
veggies
know
as
how to
a
I
kid.
didn't know how to yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to cook or anything, and I felt like it was it was flawed. Like humans weren't perfect, and they don't understand everything. So I figured, you know, that was like a taste of truth right there. Taste
Did
of things how they are. They don't need to be cooked.
did
So
you
then
did you
I
grow
decided to
up
be on.
vegetarian, or did you incorporate meat as you were growing up as a kid?
I did, but it wasn't like a choice that I wanted because anytime that I didn't feel good or like I got some kind of sickness or cold, or it felt queasy, I wouldn't touch anything cooked. I would only eat I would drink concentrated juice from the fridge. Like I wouldn't have any kind of animal product or anything cooked. I just knew it made me feel more queasy.
Oh, it's interesting. So when you were, I guess, had you ever heard about veganism when you were a kid growing up, or like when was the
Oh
first
no,
time you?
no,
No.
no, that wasn't even a thing. Like,
Yeah.
well, I saw some commercial on TV because we used to watch like these news shows and stuff, and it was about a news story, and they're like, "This guy grows his own food, all his own food." And I'm like, "All of it? How does he grow all?" And they're like, "In just his yard of 1 acre." Or something like that. And I was like, I want to see that, but I never saw it. But I was just like, I want to do that someday. I need to learn about that. That was when I was pretty young, but um, I'm like, is that possible to actually? How does he get everything?
I think
So
I
I
heard
had that.
about that. That was that like a family who had this like little yard and they grew everything that they eat. Is that
Oh, this is way back in the day when I was a kid.
okay?
So like I never heard of that, and I just thought like that would be the coolest thing. I wish I could learn about that someday when I grow up.
Um,
Or, so I had that seed planted in my mind
oh, nice.
of like that it was possible, um and that I just have to find out about it somehow. I know I wasn't going to find out about it from anybody I knew, or anybody I come across.
Yeah. Did you as a teenager hear at least about vegetarianism then before you had like have you ever heard about not eating meat or like when was the first time you
I
heard
don't
about
think I never even heard of that. No.
okay. So how did you go from when you were 17? Was it like an intuitive thing or did you actually meet someone or how did this connection happen where you decided you wanted to go vegan?
Okay, so well, I was a skateboarder, so I had these, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. Well, I had quite more friends than most people, but we'd skateboard around, and I had this one friend. We would always get high all the time and cut class, um, so when there was we went, so he got kicked out and went to this alternative school. So then. So then when I did something bad, I wanted to go there just because he's made it sound so cool. Like he only goes half a day and he gets out early, and and then he just skateboard all day.
Yeah.
So so then so I asked to be going to that school too. So so I was like 16, and I graduated from that school. I took the California proficiency. I was the best student. I was in the newspaper, best student ever to go to that school.
Whoa.
Like like I got straight A's. I just aced it because it was just totally easy. I was already like an advanced student. So so then my friend and I were going to take the proficiency test so we can get out early at 16. So then we were both going to the JC, and like he was like my buddy. We kind of did a lot of the same things, and then he was picking me up for class. We were going to go to a night class for ecology class, and just had the idea, like he had the idea, I'm going to take ecology. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that too. And there's a lot of things like he's going to do, and I'm like, oh, I'll do that too. So he's over, and my mom had made some like beef veggie stew or something, or some kind of meat stew, and she's like, oh, sit down, have some dinner, and then we're about to eat it, and then my friend's like, oh, he's like, I'm not going to eat animal products anymore, and he just pulled the meat out of it, and I'm like, oh, it sounds like a good idea. I'm like, really? I wanted to find out about that. We don't have to eat that stuff. It always makes me sick. It made me sick every time. I would get like deathly ill. Like sometimes I'd be at a friend's house and have sausage on a pizza or something, and I just get deathly ill and be throwing up,
Oh wow.
and and I just knew it was the meat. I just like I wish there was a way I could figure out how to not eat it like so many times in my life. Um, and then this time it was kind of like, oh, I don't need to eat that, and just like shortly after that, like the ethics of like not wearing leather and stuff came in along with that because we had another friend who was a vegan, but I don't know if he had. I didn't know the word vegan. It's just I don't eat animal products. You know, there was no word vegan or vegetarian.
Yeah.
I mean, vegetarian like that. Like, oh no, that's not it. That's maybe strict vegetarian. I learned that one. Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
'Cause,
So
yeah.
what were you, before you switched, what kind of feelings did you get when you ate meat? You said you get nauseous, and what other kind of symptoms did you feel?
Oh, I just feel like like I wasn't in tune with myself. I just feel like I wanted to hurl. You know, it's just my body rejected it. You know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like dizzy, and it just took energy from me. Like it really made me not able to rest and have my full energy.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
for healing. You know?
Do you know why your friend decided to not eat animal products? Or did you not ask him about that?
Well, so like he started getting into like dreadlocks and Rastafarianism and being like ITAL. He's like learning about that stuff. And we would smoke a lot of weed, and I would just be like, yeah, I just want to be pure and natural too. You know, we were learning ecology, and uh, we just wanted to really learn something and step out of like the mainstream like hype that we knew was just a bunch of BS. You know, and like going around everywhere, everything's just something made up that's not really the true knowledge. Of what works best. You know, it's like I wanted to make a discovery and like for humanity and be like discover something and spread it, and because I knew that people didn't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's something to be discovered.
So it's almost like you saw him choose that and you're like, whoa, I could choose that too. And did you just decide in that
What?
moment at your friend's house when he ate dinner, were you like, I'm not
Oh
going to eat
yeah,
animal products
no, I never
ever?
went. I decided right then and there. Oh, that's exactly what I want. I already knew. It's like when he said that I don't have to eat them.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. I didn't want to eat them anyway.
That's cool.
But I still didn't know what I was doing at all. And
Yeah.
there's no examples for me. I just knew that I wasn't going to eat animal products, and we would go to the drive-through at like Burger King, and we'd say, you know, get French fries or something
Yeah.
before class, or Taco Bell, and we'd say no cheese on the burrito.
Yeah. So you were like, okay, I'm not going to eat animal products, but did you have to like then go research? Because it's like okay, I want to avoid dairy, I want to avoid eggs, and I want to avoid meat, but then I think, at least in my process, I started discovering like, whoa, they put gelatin and animal hooves and like these candies, or like they do all this stuff that they hide all these products in. How did you find out about all of that? Did you just research from then on, or?
Oh well, for the gelatin, I didn't find that out like for a while, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really eat. I used to eat a lot of candy when I was little, but at that stage when I was like 17, I don't think I ate that much candy. I don't remember eating any candy then because I was just like more active.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to have like a fried egg every day for breakfast, and that was before that, um, like right before that, and I knew it didn't make me feel good at all. It gave me like,
Yeah.
no energy, just zap my energy,
Yeah.
maybe fall asleep and give me like a headache. But
So how did you feel like once you made that decision and you started avoiding the products? Did you physically feel different?
well, I already knew that I was gonna feel different because I already knew my whole life that like that avoiding animal products made me feel better.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
just thought I
explain it.
thought I had to eat them.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
But I mean,
but
people aren't living in you, so can you explain to them what you felt so they know?
oh,
Like what was
what feeling better. I just felt like wow, I'm on the path to like truth. I'm on
mm,
the path to like making a major breakthrough in humanity. A major discovery. because like I didn't know, I never heard of anybody doing this, uh, except for like on the news when you hear a little clip like about something that time about people growing their own food.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I ever heard of it. Um, I just thought it was some rare, rare thing that people just, too afraid to research or something.
Yeah.
I didn't have any resources or um, what. Some I remember reading about like nutrition or something and strict vegetarianism. I just never knew. I just ate fast food, whatever. I would put water in my cereal instead of milk. I put orange juice in there, or every morning I would have cereal for breakfast, like Raisin Bran and stuff. So I still get the feeling like I'm gonna go have that for breakfast sometimes. It's just like something I grew up with. Just the water and the dry part mixed. It's like the liquid. Drink the liquid and chew the dry part.
Mm-hmm. So did your digestion get better?
Well, sure. I mean, better. I just didn't get worse, is what it didn't get. Is what happened anytime I ate stuff I shouldn't be eating. I just knew it would make everything worse, and so I would just feel more normal if I wasn't eating that stuff. You know, um,
So it's
yeah.
been like 30 years. What do you feel like some of the gifts of living a vegan lifestyle are for you?
Oh, so that I haven't. I'm not under the spell of anyone's spell who just tells me what I need.
Yeah.
Um, like my grandma just saying, "Have some milk." Every time I see her. Um, I just it put me under a spell. It's like Hansel and Gretel or something. Um,
Like, did you? Yeah, it sounds like you felt really free. That's how I felt when I first went. I was just feeling like I could. I just felt like I was really living in alignment with my truth, and I felt like this freedom and this upliftment of like not doing things just because people tell you to do it, even though it doesn't really feel that good. You know? Yeah.
yeah, it feels like I'm gonna be the spell creator now. I'm gonna be the one. I'm not gonna wear leather like because I had a friend. He's a skateboarder and he had these special, know, non these special vegan skateboard shoes, and I'm like, oh, I have to get those. And
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna be the one to wake everybody up, and not be the I was gonna put a spell on everybody.
Did you talk about it a lot with other people after you made that choice, or did you just kind of keep it quiet to yourself for a while?
Oh, I just thought like other people would pick it up the same way, like be like, oh, aha. When I would be like, oh, I don't eat any animal products. I just thought maybe other people, I'd be planting a seed or anytime I would tell people that. I didn't hear the word vegan until I was like 20 or something.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't. I'm like, is that what I am? And they're like, yes, that's what you are.
Did you
I just,
notice like if did any of your friends start changing or around you or what?
oh yeah. I had friends that worked for this vegan taco place, but it was just like it was like taco shells and carrots. It was like I don't know. It wasn't like anything anybody would sustainable for anybody. But it was this solar taco place, and I did it. I worked there for a day, tried out, but then I had like all these friends going vegan, and it was just kind of weird. I never really ate that way. It was just real taco shells with veggies in them. Um, what did I eat? I would eat a lot of canned foods, canned beans and stuff, and cereal and bread, and never even tried a mango. Like my mom never got, like, my dad would get a mango once in a while just for him. I think one time I tried it, I'm like, wow. You know, I can't believe my mom never got me a mango. I was like blown away when I
So
tried.
do you feel like how has not eating animal products, like did you go from kind of more processed and refined to more whole foods as the years went by, or how has your diet changed? Not apart from the whole raw conversation, which we'll have tomorrow, but like just eating plant-based, like did you eat a lot of refined and processed? It sounds like you did because you were going to Taco
Oh
Bell.
yeah, well, like cereal and bread, um, pasta. I guess I would make for myself. As I got older and I did sports like track and stuff, and then I would try to cook big pots of food and bring it with me in my car because I'm like in a hurry. I like do track all day, so I'd like have big pots of polenta and or rice or something, and it was just so bland, and, and it would take so much time and energy to eat it. I just wanted to get it done so I could have the energy that I wanted to try to be a track star, you know.
Were you running?
Yeah, well, I tried to be a decathlete.
Oh, cool.
I did a lot of things, but that was like the height of it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I mean, like I started out riding my bike everywhere. And I just like wanted to be in sports and played basketball, and then I was like, see someone jumping and like, oh, I wish I could jump like that. And he's like, I do track. I'm like, oh, I want to do track. So I do high jump, and then I was just like, I wanted to do everything. I didn't want to limit myself. So then I was like, I'll be a decathlete. I'd be there like all day. I would like train like all day long, get there
Wow,
at noon and stay till the sun was going down.
that's cool. Did you
Get there at 11 and stay till the sun was going down. Track.
did your skating get better, like your endurance and stuff when you switched over, or how did it affect like your physical athletics at all? Like, did you notice any difference in that?
Yeah, I was also, I had a lot of friends getting into doing drugs and a lot of weed and stuff, and
Yeah.
uh, I went through that phase too. But I knew that I was definitely lighter and better off, not eating that kind of stuff. Wouldn't feel all queasy anymore, and just thought I was discovering truth. Really thought I was learning the truth that nobody else knew. And I was a pioneer for humanity. So there wasn't a lot around, a lot of inspiration around. It wasn't internet. Didn't read a lot of books or anything. Didn't meet a lot of people like that. Just like when I would read a book about Rastafarianism, about Ital food, and they won't eat anything white, So I was, I kind of went through that, and I wouldn't eat anything white for a while.
Like not even turnips?
Oh yeah, I was like wondering about that. I was like, for a little while I wouldn't, but then I did eat turnips. Yeah, that was hard to eat turnips. Like, oh yeah, so I went to the store when I started like shopping for myself, um and I learned what organic was. Like I went to this organic store. Like I didn't know what organic, that was a new thing. There was only like 2 organic stores in all town, and I was like, what's this, and it seemed like it had so much more like flavor and vibrancy. It was like magic food, seemed like to me. It was smaller, because it's like organic was still new and they didn't figure out how to make things grow big, I guess. That was always like the thing, like organic is smaller. Seemed like it like wasn't as pumped up, robust. But I would go in the store and I would ask people, what do vegans eat? I'm on a vegan diet. I'd ask the produce guy, and he'd be like, oh, some people staple on carrots. So I would like buy big mass bags of carrots and just eat them, and I'd turn orange.
Oh no.
I didn't know how to cook anything or anything. So I would eat a lot of daikon radishes because people, the produce guy, I would just ask the produce guy, what should I eat? And he would have me eating lots of tubers. So I would eat lots of, daikon radishes and turnips, and I would try to switch it up, rutabagas, and you know, I would just try to eat like one thing, I guess. I mean, I would mix it up. When the internet came out, and I would be on the computer, and I'd be trying to cook food, and I would always forget, and they'd like overcook it and burn it, and I had a lot of troubles there. Where I would just like get stuff that just wasn't not recognizable. It totally changed color if I boil it too long. Um, but yeah, it was hard to eat that stuff. It was all hot and it burned my mouth.
It sounds like you struggled.
Yeah, but I did feel like, man, I'm healthier than anybody. Man,
Yeah.
I'm just eating roots right out of the ground. This is just like, how pure can you get? This is the truth, man. Like, this is what humans discovered to survive. They didn't need to like take lives and destroy the ecosystem, and pretend they're something they're not.
What
I
do you mean
felt
by
like
that? Pretend something they're not.
um like animals, try to mimic animals that have the teeth that tear apart other animals, stuff like that. I knew like humans must have survived on like digging in the ground and discovering different things. That's what must made us human. uh, I guess I won't go into the raw thing till tomorrow, but
So
but
that's cool. So like I'm really curious. I want to hear more about this truth discovery, like what that meant for you and how did it change the rest of your, not just the eating, but like your lifestyle and like what you were doing. Did you just like get rid of all your clothes and buy new clothes? Like what, and how did that change? Like you said you're on this truth path. What happened?
oh yeah, well, see, so I wasn't like totally seeking the truth. You can't always be totally convinced you found it. So there's a couple of times when I just like maybe a few times I had it like meat again, and then I realized how I felt when I did it. I felt horrible, like the oxygen was depleted. I felt just so greasy in my mouth, and felt like lethargic. I was just like, whoa, now I know for sure that like veggies make me feel way better. um uh, like there's like my mom would, like, I had no money or something, and there's all this fried chicken on the table, or baked chicken or whatever, and I was like, fine, I'll just eat that. That's when that happened, and I discovered that, like, just confirmed what I was feeling. um
So like
and
if I asked you, and since you've been on this path so long, what would you have told yourself when you were 17, right? When you were switching over to all plant-based foods, what would you tell yourself to make it easier? Like if you
oh
could have given yourself advice, like what would you have told yourself?
about plant-based foods. I mean, I would have just said that you don't need anything but plant-based foods, and
No,
certain
I mean
foods.
like about the way you were cooking it or what to eat, or because you said you were asking the produce man.
Yeah, I would ask random people. I would go in the store. There's community market there, and I found out there were some vegans in there. I'm like, oh shoot! I'm like, hey, can you show me what to eat? And they do like a tour around the store, and they show me all these different foods that they like to eat, and like uh, they tell me like soy had estrogens in it, and it turns you into a woman, and like I never even ate soy. I mean, I did for a while, but you know, when I was a kid, I had soybean milk, and I thought that was kind of gross, I guess. Uh, or maybe I did like it. I don't know. but it wasn't the chocolate milk like I was used to. Um, but yeah, it was like they would show me everything, like from mochi to what's that stuff, miso to those plums, those fermented plums. It's like
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's supposed to be like B12 or something, nutritional yeast, and um, yeah, and then it just seems so expensive to go shopping and buy all these products that like were to try and get a rainbow of everything, and just to attempt to find balance. I didn't know about nutrition or anything. I would just try to buy the labels that said that, and try to get something from everything on the tour. Bread with like Ezekiel bread, and just trying to think I was like eating the most healthy just by labels and what people told me in the store.
So would you have told yourself avoid all the fancy products and go for the produce, or what? You
Well,
didn't.
I already knew that. I already
Oh, you
knew that,
already knew that. Okay.
but I would have said, yeah, well, humans aren't humans because of eating meat, and we don't need to eat it, you know, and it's just only going to detriment us and make us, sick, and it's just against our biology.
Yeah. So it sounds like you first really got into it because of wanting to resonate with the truth of your body and your health and like what, and then it sounds like was the compassion piece already there, or did you have to learn more about that, about the
Well,
way they're treated?
because at first, like, I was like, oh, I don't care. I still have my leather shoes. And then when I saw a friend who's like, he had non-leather shoes, and then my other friend got some too. He's like, I'm just gonna go full no animals, and I was like, that sounded like the right thing to do. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm really gonna spread the truth now, by like showing people that I'm gonna do it in all ways, because it's like I've discovered something that you don't know, and it's like this is truth, and I don't need to just be like halfway knowing the truth asleep. I need to fully immerse and like show how real it is,
Mm-hmm.
and like how like I can um, just it's like it's like an example of being like you know free mind, I guess.
My connection got weird.
uh,
um Sorry, so the last thing you said was that you felt like you had a free mind, or a freer mind.
yeah, I felt like yeah, I'm gonna show people that I'm gonna be strong and have a free mind, and it really just trust trust what I feel, and see if like I thought other people would feel it too, or so much, they saw that like I did.
It's
But
cool that like your story happened before there was even maybe internet and stuff, and
oh
so
yeah, before there's even internet.
yeah, and so it's interesting for I think people to hear about that, because it's like, yeah, nowadays you can just type in vegan and you see all these people on all these social media platforms, and you can find the information so easy. And um, I remember having to go to the library to look all this stuff up. And it's so cool to hear how you just went to the supermarkets and would just like go up to people and ask them like,
Oh yeah, the
what does
produce guy,
vegans
he's like
eat? What do
working
they
hard.
do?
And then, hey, can you tell me what do vegans eat, or like I don't need animal products. Can you tell me what I can live on?
Did anybody give you like some really funky answers, or like,
Yeah, there's so many eat like carrots, or like daikon radishes, and I didn't eat salad or anything. I didn't eat greens. I wanted just to have energy. I want I wanted to have carbs, and you know, I remember I ate my first coconut, and I was worried about eating the whole thing because it's saturated fat, and it was a mature coconut and it's super hard to eat. I'm like, but I didn't eat the whole thing. I'm like, I knew this couldn't be good for me, but like big thick coconut, the hard kind you can't even chew. Um, and then when the community market, when I met those vegans, like I would just like want, I would like stalk them, I would like try to talk to them any chance I could.
Did they ever have any like potlucks or meetups or anything like that you could go to for vegans, or like because you came up to people at the market? Did they ever invite you over to eat or?
No, it wasn't that widespread. I mean, these were like unicorns, Uh, I never met that many. I mean, that's the only vegans I've ever met, I think, at the grocery store there. And have I ever been to a vegan potluck? Just like, yeah, that's like right before I went raw. Like I went to a Thanksgiving one.
Oh, cool.
But I'll tell you that story tomorrow.
Yeah. Did you? Oh, I wasn't going to ask you. Shoot, it will come back to me. I was going to ask you something about. Oh yeah. So like, what was life like? Like, did you feel transition when the internet was made, and like, did your life as a plant-based eater and vegan lifestyle, did your life change in any way from this new technology?
I remember just learning about like strict vegetarianism. Like that's what it was called. I mean, I guess I knew vegan by the time the internet came out, but most of the things that were written would call it that. I mean, that word wasn't really in circulation much. I mean, maybe at community market it was. Um, so yeah, I would spend a lot of time on the internet trying to go to chat rooms, America Online, and trying to talk to people. And that's actually what I first heard about fruitarianism, meeting someone in the chat. I'll tell you that story. And also, yeah, I would try to meet people who are vegans on America Online. The free discs they would send in the mail, and it's dial up, and you had to wait forever. It was super slow.
Yeah.
I'd be like trying to chat with people, and just random people that you can type in like keywords and try to search for.
That must have been so bizarre.
So I would chat with people like all night sometimes, and you'd find someone to chat with. You'd be like, "Wow, I got someone to chat with."
Yeah, it is pretty special. I remember I didn't meet another vegan for my first 4 years. So like the first time I met someone was like, whoa, like that unicorn thing. Like you're into the same lifestyle. That's crazy. Did you feel like you know how you said you were smoking a lot and like all the other stuff? Did you feel like that shifted after you went plant-based, and or was it totally, did it affect that?
Oh yeah, well that's another thing. Okay, so I think before I stopped eating meat and animal products, I was in high school, and like other skateboard kid at lunchtime, he handed me a cigarette, and I'd never had a cigarette, and I'm just like, oh, I can try that. And so for a little while I was gonna smoke a cigarette. I got so dizzy, but and then I was with my friends skateboarding, and I offered them, and they're like, no way, we don't do that. But then they just became the biggest smokers eventually, and then I was the first one of all my friends to quit. Like they everybody was smoking, and they would drink, and I would only do it if I was drunk or something, but I was like I was the strong-willed person to be the first one to quit, and for so many years, and they kept doing it, and they got worse and worse, and I think they still smoke today. I don't know. can't believe it. I feel bad, like I'm the one who got him started or something, But but I knew that I had the willpower to change things, and I could just do it right away, And maybe I'll have a couple of flashbacks, but no, I knew that I wanted to have more energy, like people I would see on TV, like what's the guy, Carl Lewis and stuff, and I would see track people, and I'd be like, wow, they're like superheroes in real life, How can I have that much energy?
Oh, that's
And,
cool.
like, because I wanted to skateboard, but I was always lethargic because I was always smoking weed and stuff and not eating, because I, I didn't watch my food, I didn't, I would just, I would like go play and, not really have a plan to go eat, and I would just eat whatever I would get at my friend's house or something. Just eat at friends' houses all the time. That's what we do. We go to each other's house and raid the kitchen.
So like, what, how do you view the whole movement now compared to when you first started? Like what do you feel like? What do you see like as someone who's been doing this as a long term?
I see what I knew was eventual, that the truth will get out and people will want the truth. They'll know that they've been fed a lot of, made up stories and fantasies, and like practically everything is just, something made up, and it's just like hype to keep people going. And it's not really true discovery, self-discovery, discovery of how the world works. And they're just going to have a thirst for and test things out like in a scientific way, like to actually see what works for them, and what works for everything.
Do you feel like people are gonna gravitate towards this truth and become the majority of like the way people live in life, or do you feel like it's gonna stay small, or how do you see? Do you think that it's
Seems like it
possible?
seems like it's growing, but then I do know it. It takes a motivation, takes certain, many types of motivations, like to discover. Like, 'cause for me, it was just like I knew I was, excluding something, but for someone who's going at it towards, like uh, trying to overcome some kind of health challenge or something, and they're not really, they need, knowledge to succeed. Even though it didn't bother me that I didn't have the knowledge. I knew I wasn't succeeding, but I wasn't going to give up. I was just going to ask. I was going to find out, because I heard that article that somebody grows their own food, and they eat all their own food from their yard, and I was like, that's truth. I know that's truth. So I was always hooked on that, and that just keyed it in, and I knew that there's no reason to ever, you know, defy that, because when I heard that, I knew it was true.
Mm, yeah. So what do you feel like the knowledge is that people are lacking that they need to hear? Because you said you just recognize the truth, but you said they need to know the knowledge. What do they need to know?
Well, for me, it was, the knowledge that is seeing the success of somebody else, and then like not need the system, and like not just to be self-sufficient, and um, and to realize that, realize that everything's just like just marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I would show the success, like people that are doing without all that, and and I would really tell somebody, about like our biological design and our origins,
Can you
and
tell
what
me more
makes
about
sense.
that?
What makes sense, from the to the scientists who even made up science, who classified us, you know, as frugivore, not as carnivores. The guy who invented the scientific naming system for everything.
Yeah.
That's what.
So when I feel like I kind of want to jump into the next part about the whole raw food thing. Do you want to do it today or do you want to do it tomorrow?
It's up to you. Uh,
No, it's up to
I
you.
am I am in the sun here. Let's see.
You are in the sun. Okay, we can hold back. Um, what kind of, I mean, this is kind of going to be a little poking question, but like what bothers you about like what you see as common mistakes, or what kind of things do you see that frustrates you, that you've had to overcome, that you may see in other people? Like what would you want to tell them, or what kind of common mistakes do you see?
Uh, People, their motivation is kind of more by like a self, like they're trying to be like some kind of movie star or something. They don't have they feel like they got to keep up with what they see on TV or something. It seems like they want to continue to eat like what they believe is society, um, that they have to, because they believe the hype, I think, of what I think is the mainstream. I mean, maybe it's real, but it's like they they feel not worthy, so they have to be like everybody else to try and be like them. I don't know. I don't know.
So like so it bothers you like the influence of mass media and how it's like hyping up this idea that it's not the truth of your nature to actually be eating plants. Like it's that's what I'm hearing from you, is like
Yeah,
it's annoying that, or it's just a challenge that that the status quo and the mass media have such an influence on people who are impressionable, that feel like they have to kind of keep up with everybody else and live like everybody else, when in fact they can think for themselves, and
yeah.
they can choose themselves, and they don't have to be like some
It's like a crutch
superstar.
for their ego, to like go off as somebody with a big old ego.
Wait, say that again.
Well, they said that's why people like started eating meat, is because like only the rich people would eat it, and then they thought, well, that must mean success. That's like you have success if you eat meat, because they could only ones that could afford it, or whatever. Um,
That's true. Historically, actually,
yeah.
the rich would only eat meat more often, and then actually, I think even in the 50s, people would only eat meat like once a week or something because it was a luxury. And now it's like just every day, every meal, because that's seen as a status symbol subconsciously. Like people don't know that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
people feel like they're the head lion or something, or like the hunter, the fierce hunter that's so skilled, and now they can just reap the benefits. They don't need any of those skills,
mm.
something
That's
like.
interesting. I haven't thought about that in a long time. But yeah, how these kind of subconscious messaging is, taken on, and people think more is better, when in actuality what you're saying is more is not better, and you don't have to believe those lies about that you're better because you have more money or more status, or that you have more meat in your diet, meaning you're more successful, you know as a financial or class thing.
It's also tied with like races and stuff, and like origins, and what people think like, oh, if we're how we're gonna live here for thousands of years, like this is our manifest destiny land to be in, and we got to eat what comes from the land, that's just animals, things like that. And people don't realize that the earth used to be a totally different place, and we were human long before that. And we existed before the earth is what it is now.
Yeah. So what do you feel would be the most helpful message for people to know based on that information? Like what's the affirmative of that? Like what's the message people need to know?
About
about the whole thing that you were just talking about, like eating more meat, having it be this thing of success, or like you said, status, or
Oh, that they've been programmed and they don't realize it. Their comprehension is not so good.
I know, but that's like the negative form. Like, what's the positive form of that? Like, people need to know. So if someone, if you just tell someone, oh, you're brainwashed, like they're just gonna
Oh,
get defensive. But if you tell them the positive message, like, you have choice, you have a free will, and you actually don't have to be a slave to that. You can be the master of your reality, and you can create a different choice.
yeah, and just to know, like, that even history is not exact, and we can just know by you know our design, and that we must have like come from tropical areas and not eating meat, and you know there was no refrigerators in the old days. We didn't live in so far from the equator. It's just don't need to depend on science like archaeology for that, but more physiology, and see where we fit in with that.
Yeah. So do you have any kind of closing remarks that you want to share about plant-based, or any message that you want to share about this lifestyle with people?
You can choose love for the animals, and you don't have to uh, have a dark side. you can you can be 100%, and you don't have to have the hidden dual personality of like, oh, I love them and then I eat them. It's okay, and just try to make excuses for it. No excuses are necessary.
Yeah. So what kind of projects are you excited to share about with people? Do you have anything you want to let them
Oh
know
well,
about?
online projects, or you mean like gardening?
Anything you want to share publicly right now?
Oh well, I do offer coaching calls because I need to get some experienced coaching people and get some reviews. So I have a book you should read first to make it more efficient. Um, there's another thing I'm doing is burying buckets in my garden, which is culture, which is a bunch of logs and stuff buried in the ground. So that way, um, there's food to compost for years, and it just settles in and has airspace in there. And so I'm gonna put in buckets with holes in them, and I'm gonna put that's a new feature of it I'm putting in, and then that way I can feed the worms and put a lid on it, and then I can water there in the water because we have been having some dry end of summers here, so where my plants took a dive at the end, but I barely had to water them, so it's more water efficient this way with all the logs, which are like a sponge, and all the layers, preventing evaporation.
You've been gardening for a long time. Do you still help people with that too?
Oh yeah, I offer that. Yeah, I offer that to design, permaculture design. I do that. I got certified in that.
That's cool.
Hopefully, they won't ask me to design any animals into it, but
Yeah.
but I will always encourage voluntary animals, wild animals and worms, or worms and birds, and ones that are free, or deer.
And how can people connect with you if they want to find you?
RawVeganSensei on Instagram.
Sensei is SENSEI, right? Raw
Yeah.
Vegan Sensei. Okay.
And I also have you can either DM me, but I also have a thing if you want to get on the calendar and uh, um, fresh. I mean, it's on my Linktree, and you can just book a call, and I can help to design your life, help you figure out what to eat, and figure out where to get it and what's good, and stuff like that, and what works best for
That's
you.
awesome. And do you have any other kind of, is it all through Instagram, or do you have any other platforms that you share or want people to connect with you on?
Oh yeah, I have a Facebook group. It's kind of it's called the Fruit Focused Digestive Nirvana Challenge with Sensei Seb. I think that's the name of it. I probably should have made it something easier to remember.
Yeah, that's cool though. Fruit. Let's see if we can remember this. Fruit focus challenge with
That Fruit Focused Digestive Nirvana Challenge. Um,
nice.
it's in my link in Instagram,
Okay,
my
cool.
link in bio. But I do want people to read the book, before they join, really, because
And that's free, right? Or use it.
yeah, it's free, yeah,
Oh wow,
and
cool.
and it's like 40 pages or something, but they're not like dense pages. It's like one sentence per line, and a lot of things are just listed. And I mean, when I proofread it, I could just do that in like 5 minutes or something,
Yeah,
So I think it shouldn't take long for somebody to read unless they're like stopping to absorb it and think about it.
cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Sebastian. I'm looking forward to hearing about your story tomorrow. You're going to share about your raw vegan experience, and yeah, this is really helpful. I hope that all your information helps everyone who's been watching. And I will be saving this to our Instagram TV. And I just want to say thanks to everyone who also joined us today. So thank you. Thanks, Sebastian.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.